when you're a buyer and a seller gives you a seller's memo, how can I differentiate a good seller's memo versus a not so good one? I mean, in other words, what red flags would cause you to say like, this business doesn't seem to have its act together?
Well, in many cases, the sellers will overestimate or overvalue their businesses. For if the seller does not include reasons why the business may not do well, because realize that there is an element of risk in every business, or better yet, an element of uncertainty, and that has to be considered. And also, they need to discuss the good and the bad, as well as the positives and the negatives about the business.
Okay, that's important to know. Okay, non-disclosure agreements. So you had mentioned, I mean, they're also called confidentiality agreements. You had mentioned it earlier. If somebody's going to request, if I'm a buyer and I request a seller's memo, I should not be surprised if the seller, requires me to sign an NDA before we start seeing that information. Tell me, as again, this book is for buyers. So tell me what I should expect to see in a non-disclosure agreement, so I'm not surprised or taken aback by any request that's made of me.
Well, the non-disclosure agreement is going to describe what information is confidential, which is generally everything that they give you. And there's some exceptions that are carved out, information you already knew, information that you already knew that is not in violation of any agreement, information in the public domain that's not in violation of any agreement, or information that you developed independently that's not in violation of an agreement. In addition, there should be a carve out that if you're ever subpoenaed for any of the information, you have to provide it.
Right.
And if you get a subpoena, it could provide that you let the seller know about it, and it's up to them to try to get the subpoena set aside or quashed, but that's not on you.
Got it. Have you ever seen an NDA invoked, like where proprietary information was misused and a seller of a business went back to the buyer and said you're in violation of the NDA?
Yes.
Wow. Can you, if you can remember, like, what was that situation?
I mean, and in those cases, you have people who go into court, and without getting into specifics, that could happen in many cases. But my suggestion is, even before you sign an NDA, both the buyer and the seller should sit down and talk about the business. Right. There's a lot of information about the business that's already in the public domain. The information is on the business's website. It's on their marketing brochures. And you could ask the seller just to talk to you about that and see if it makes sense for you to enter into an NDA with the individual. If after a 10, 15, or 20-minute conversation, I'm not interested in the business, I won't even sign it. I won't ask for an NDA. I will destroy my notes because it just doesn't make sense. And I think it's impolite, and it just creates an additional burden on everyone if you sign this.